My name is Olan, that's my English name. My Mohawk name is Ionataiewas Mohawk in a Wolf Clan. I live here in Saratoga Springs, and I'm here today at the Peace and Justice Gathering in the park at Saratoga. We're manning a table for Kanatsiohareke, which is a community, a Mohawk community located about an hour west of here along the Mohawk River. And a little bit about the community is that just after the Revolutionary War, George Washington ordered the destruction of our villages and food stores. So many of our people fled. They fled north. But with them, they took a prophecy that someday our people might return to the Mohawk Valley. And that happened. It happened in 1993 when Tom Porter, a Mohawk elder, and a group of people from Ionataiewas, my reservation, came back down south because they found out that there was a piece of land along the Mohawk River that was going up for auction. And as it turned out, that piece of land actually was on what was traditionally old Mohawk Bear Clan village sites. Archaeologically, there was layer upon layer upon layer of old Mohawk Bear Clan villages there. And the idea was to establish a traditional community that would live as self-sufficiently as possible, as you can in this day and age, following the teachings of the Kanienkehaka, or the Mohawk people. And it's a working farm. It's, at this point, almost 400 acres in size. It has cows and horses and gardens, organic gardens, craft store, B&B. And it's named Kanatsiohareke because if you go into Kanienkehaka, which is actually a mispronunciation of Kanatsiohareke, there's a creek that runs through. And in that creek there's a pothole that was carved by nature. And there's one pothole in particular that's about 10 feet in diameter and 10 feet deep. And when my ancestors saw that, they noticed that in the springtime, when the water comes down the creek bed with enough force, it churns up the debris in the bottom of that pothole, and it makes it look like the water's boiling, but it isn't. It's the same temperature as the surrounding water. So we named that place the place of, some people translate it as the boiling pot, or the hanging pot, or the clean pot, or the pot that washes itself. Different people translate it in different ways. So when we returned to the Mohawk Valley in 1993 to reestablish a community, we decided to use our original name for that region, Kanatsiohareke, the clean pot, the place of the clean pot. And so it's only about an hour west of Saratoga Springs. We offer conferences, workshops, we offer language immersion classes. We have all kinds of concerts there and festivals. In fact, there's going to be a festival there next weekend. Everybody's invited. It's on Saturday, and it's going to go from 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. There'll be music, song, traditional dance, food, storytelling, crafts. And it's a way for us to let people know what we're trying to do and who we are, and to make new friends, and to re-spark our old friendships as well. So that's what we're trying to do. We feel it's important to keep our language and our traditions alive because there's so much to learn from them. And we think everybody should keep their stories alive and their traditions alive because we can all learn from one another. And also, in 2 weeks there's going to be a festival at SPAC, a Native American festival that is going to concentrate on the Native peoples of the Northeast, the Algonquin people and the Iroquois people. And we'll have a table there as well. And there'll be music and dance and food and storytelling and talks and activities for young and old alike. And it's just going to be a lot of fun and a great learning experience as well. And that'll be at SPAC. And that's open to everybody.
What is the date and time?
October 3rd and 4th. And I don't have the information here. I believe it probably starts around 10 and goes to dusk. But you can look on the website, nativefestival.org. SaratogaNativeFestival.org and look up the information for that. And if you want to know what else is going on at Kanatsiohareke, there's a website for us as well and a calendar of events. And that website is MohawkCommunity.com. And you can click on the calendar and see what's going on. Not only that, but if you can't make it and you want to know more about Kanatsiohareke, we have a book that tells everything you always wanted to know about our community. It tells about the history of the Mohawks in the Mohawk Valley. It talks about our culture, our spirituality, and the prophecy that we would someday return and how that happened in 1993.
Can you just tell this prophecy real quick, like summarize it?
Well, it was just briefly when we left the Mohawk Valley. Through our oral tradition, our ancestors would tell the people of the younger generation that someday traditional people would return to our ancestral homeland. It was as simple as that. And that prophecy was passed down by word of mouth, and especially in the family of Tom Porter, who's a Mohawk elder. And Tom would repeat that prophecy along with lots of other cultures. So the prophecy was that someday traditional Mohawk people would return to the Mohawk Valley. And that prophecy was passed down by word of mouth from generation to generation. And in particular, there was a family where Tom Porter, a Mohawk elder, heard that prophecy many, many times. And he never knew that he was going to be part of that prophecy. He would just repeat the prophecy because that's how we pass on knowledge, is through the oral tradition. And one time he was invited to come to the Mohawk Valley and speak. And he mentioned that prophecy, and a man named Vincent Schaefer was in the audience, and he was intrigued by that idea that he would return. And so every so often he would call up Tom and tell him about a piece of land that maybe was up for sale or up for auction. And a group of people from Ionataiewas, our reservation, would go and look at the land and see if it would work for us to make that prophecy come true. And then finally they looked at a piece of land that some people they used to call Montgomery Manor. It was a county-run home for 100 years for at times the indigent, sometimes the aged, sometimes orphans. And then finally the county, Montgomery County, gave it up. They couldn't make it come up to today's standards of health and safety. So they boarded it up and they built a new facility. And the old facility sat there unattended for quite a few years. And it was vandalized and just was in disrepair. When Montgomery County decided to put it up for auction, Tom Porter and a group of people from Ionataiewas went to the auction, and they actually didn't have enough money to purchase it, but a wealthy man from south of here purchased it and handed it over to Tom because he said, "I know what you're going to do with this. I think it's a great idea and I support you. So provide a place where that prophecy can come true, and provide a place where contemporary Mohawk people can go to relearn their culture, tradition, spirituality, and language." And so that's what's been going on at Kanatsiohareke since 1993.
And that's located where exactly?
Well, if you travel from Saratoga and you take 29 west out to Johnstown, and then you make a left on, I believe it's 30A, to go down to Fonda. When you get into downtown metropolitan Fonda, you make a right-hand turn on Highway 5, not 5S, but 5, which travels along the northern shore of the Mohawk River. And you go 7 miles, and Kanatsiohareke is on the right.
And everyone's welcome?
Everyone is welcome.